Yeah, okay, cool. So now it's recording. All right, well, there were questions that you guys had that were good. Maybe you want to throw those back in the group discussion thing or class content thing. So let's do an exercise. Yeah, you guys want to do that?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Just trying to configure this a bit. Yeah, see, with these Zoom recordings, bad recording, and then on top of that, you got to deal with me and my dinosaur technology, wisdom, which is nothing. I guess that's so you can see this now. Got a blank canvas kind of thing, and then this reading over here. Now, for you guys, like what size is best for you guys to actually be able to read the text? So I'm going like here. Can you read the text from there?
I think it has to be a little smaller to get there.
Smaller?
Not too small, but like the minimum size.
Okay, like you can read like what's on the screen right now though, yeah?
Yeah.
So let me see. Can you read it at that size though?
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Okay. I mean, so I'm gonna read through it with you guys first, and then I'll make it this small again so that you guys can see the whole thing for when I ask you questions. So remember, you got your RLD notes out. So I'm gonna have you interact with this as we go, but we'll read it together first. So let's see. Would you eat your cat? Is the title of this. Also the question. Cleopatra always enjoyed a close relationship with her cat, Hector. She would tell her friends that she and Hector were more like sister and brother than owner and pet. Hector went everywhere with Cleo. He would ride in the trolley as she stocked up on his favorite gourmet foods at her weekly supermarket shop. They would regularly watch afternoon reruns of Melrose Place together, she enjoying the occasional after eight mint, he happily devouring a tuna melt. And at night, he would curl up at the bottom of her bed and she would read to him, an Agatha Christie perhaps, or excerpts from The Owl and the Pussycat. Hector, unfortunately, was not blessed with great eyesight, and this led to his downfall, where one day he mistook a lawnmower for a mouse. Cleo was devastated by his death, but having known that this moment would come, she had some years before made herself a promise. As a tribute to Hector, she would eat him for supper. She felt that this was fitting. He would, so I cut and paste this so it's awkward, he would in death become one with her. Also, she had heard that cat meat was jolly tasty and figured that Hector would have been pleased that he was now satisfying her curiosity in this regard. So it was, then, that Cleo sat down on the evening of Hector's death and ate him, on toast washed down with a nice glass of Chianti. Cleo lived to be a ripe old age. She never regretted her decision to eat Hector, never suffered any ill effects as a result, and told nobody else what she had done. So our question for you right now is, was Cleo wrong to eat her beloved cat? So we're going to say, was she right or wrong? And okay, so I'm just going to pull you. Can you raise your hand? All right, good. All right, so what we're going to do is you're just going to respond like that. So I'm going to ask you, first off, is Cleo wrong for eating her cat? So do the thumbs up or the raise hand or whatever if you are thinking she's wrong for eating her cat.
I don't know what to do to hand raise.
I think it's reaction. So at the bottom of the screen on the different options, do you see the reaction button?
That share and participant.
Oh, under more. Does anyone know where it is on? Were you on a phone or?
I'm on a laptop actually.
Okay. Can you make the Zoom screen bigger? It might just be hidden. You can physically raise your hand. You see, you have video on, Anton, so that works for me too. So raise your hand really quick. Raise your hand if you think she's wrong for eating her cat. Okay. Still counting. Okay, cool. So I counted 12 of you. Okay, who thinks she was right for eating her cat? So raise your hand again. No one else responding? I think I counted 5, which means not everyone voted, but it's fine. What we're gonna do now is you guys are going to so you're not going to flip over the piece of paper because you don't have the piece of paper. But what you are going to do is you're going to write in your RLD notes. So was she right or wrong? Choose one of those. Even if you feel like you're on the fence or something, just pick one side and write down all the reasons that you can think that she is either right or wrong for eating her cat. Adeline, do you have a question or did you just leave that on from the poll?
Oh, I just left it on. I don't know how to take it off.
Oh, does anyone know? Do you just click it again or what?
I think it just goes away like after 10 seconds.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I couldn't find a way to like take it off either.
Oh,
okay.
I took it off now.
Oh,
Yeah.
how did you do it?
I just clicked it again.
Okay.
Oh,
All
okay.
right. That's
Yeah.
what I figured. Okay. So yeah, write on in your notes your reasons. Now remember, this is your notes, so bullet point, like stripped down what is the reason. That way you're not just like filling up space. I really don't care how much you're writing, right? Like how many pages you can get out of it. Plus that's kind of annoying. If you're handwriting it, you want to send me like 5 pictures because you like wrote a whole like novel. Like you want to be able to come back to these notes. So you want it to be as stripped down as possible. So yeah, bullet point, like 1 to 3 word answers of like why she's either right or wrong. So I'm going to give you like a couple minutes to like 2 minutes to do that. And I'm just going to sit here all awkwardly. Then you're going to share them. So make sure you actually do this. Give you like I don't know, 15 more seconds to get your ideas down. All right, can you see the cat reading again?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
All right, so let's start with wrong because there's more of you there. Give me some of your reasons.
I think I'll go first.
Sure.
For me, I put that it's wrong because they are pets. They'll forever be our pet, you know. They are meant to be loved, not eaten. They're part human and they're respected and they're caring.
Okay. So you guys can see I'm writing stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it big enough or like do I need to make it bigger or is it?
That's fine.
Okay. Okay, what else?
So
Hi.
oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so I didn't raise my hand at first, but then I also agree that you shouldn't eat pets, that they must be loved. So
Okay.
yeah, it's kind of messed up that you ate your cat.
All right. How is it messed up? Any other stuff to add?
He doesn't know if Hector would allow.
Ooh.
I was also going to say that it's also dehumanizes her, and it's not morally right because they built a trustworthy relationship, so it can also make her look untrustworthy, not only with animals, but possibly with her other relationships with others.
Right. That was a lot of good stuff. So I'm just trying to, how do I word that? So dehumanizes, morally wrong, makes her untrustworthy. Yeah? Is that pretty much it? Okay, who else has something to add to that?
So I think she had more of an obsession rather than a pet owner relationship. How she treated her cat. And the fact that she kept it a secret and she didn't tell anyone, I feel like she might have more problems, like a mental illness or something like that. For her keeping it like a secret, not discussing it with someone. Maybe she needs help in a way. I don't know.
Totally. All right. Yeah, these are good. What else? Any other reasons you can think of?
I kind of agree with when it said that you know it'll make her feel untrustworthy.
Okay. All right. Oh, this is kind of annoying, all the script stuff. There we go. Cool. What else?
Cats probably like taste bad.
Can't taste good. Anything else? Yeah, these are acceptable answers. I tend to get gross. Gross is an answer. Did anyone think it's gross? Okay. Don't hold those back. You don't have to like make it sound like you're pontificating too deeply. Boom. All right. Anything else for Ron? Final chance. That's it.
I wrote an alternative for what she could have done. I said that she could have cremated him and like kept the cat's ashes near her if she wanted to be like one with the cat. Like she didn't have to eat it.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, especially, yeah.
I also have one last thing, I guess. I was going to say that it can, within society, it could be considered culturally taboo.
Okay. All right, cool. These are good. Good answers, guys. Like there's a good variety here of all across the board. What about write? How's she write? Also, I apologize. I didn't make it smaller so that you could read the whole thing again. I was supposed to do that. Yeah, it's all there now. So who chose right? You're gonna have to voice.
I chose right.
Okay.
Okay. Just to leave it clear, I would not do that. But I feel like at the end of the day, she wasn't harming anybody. So I mean, just let her live her life. It was her cat.
Good, that was 2. All right.
I also also agree with that. I mean, even though it's not socially acceptable for her to eat her cat, obviously, in her mind, it was like a respectful thing to do, and there was no like ill intention, you know?
Yes, that is an answer. I'm not siding with anyone right now, by the way, but these are good. What else?
It also says in the text that she wanted to feel closer to Hector after he like passed away.
Okay. Anything else?
I don't know if this might be right, but I felt like she wanted to make a promise to herself about
Okay.
eating the cat.
It does say that. She made a promise. All right. Anyone else? Get a couple more in here. Come on.
I feel like she was so close to her cat, and only like her and her cat understood their bond, like their relationship.
Something like that, right? I don't know. It still sounds awkward, but I totally get what you're saying. I just made it sound weird.
I guess she thought it would taste good. That could be a reason. Why not?
Yeah, she was probably just curious because I guess she had heard that it was tasty.
Right? Yeah, these are all direct from the text. That's true.
Oh, she also said that Hector would have been pleased with how she satisfied her curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be a reason.
Okay. Any last ones?
It also says that she didn't regret what she did to her cat. So, like, she was fine with what she did to, like, eating her cat.
Yeah. You like how I spelled that?
No words.
Yeah. You guys never seen that tattoo? It's great.
Yeah, I've seen
The
it.
guy with like the blonde guy in the hat, he's like, no regrets.
I don't know what they look like, but my wife follows like bad tattoos on Instagram or something like that. And so there's, one, they're always the misspelled ones. And so the no regrets is particularly ironic. Anyway, yeah, okay. That's definitely in the text. Says that. What else? Anything else? Last chance to defend that side. Right.
It seems that she like respectfully ate his body and like cooked it. I don't know. So
Okay. All right. So you can write these down in your notes, by the way. If you don't have the other side's arguments, or if you didn't have some of the arguments that were for your side, we're going to talk about these. I believe. I think we're going to talk about these. No, we are. But first, what we're going to do is we're going to introduce more material. So, because my whole job as a professor is obviously to entrap you, right? That's what I'm here for. Have you ever gotten that or gotten that feeling where professors are just trying to like pull something over on you? It's not paranoia. It's definitely a thing. We totally do that. All right, so let's pull up really quick. Wait, I do have it here somewhere. You know what's going to happen? I'm going to pull it up, and then you won't be able to see it. So let's see. Come on. Nope. What's happening? I know that works. Okay, can you see the thing that I just put up? Probably not.
Yeah, with the triangle.
Oh, you can see it?
Yeah.
See, why some and not others? That's really weird. All right, so let me make this a little bigger. So once again, you can find this document on our class page. Also, I suggest you printing it out. It will be helpful, I think, or it can be helpful. Maybe you're like, no, I already know all this stuff. That's fine. But there's some good information on here for you. So the thing is, so if you don't print out material, this is just one page also, so it's really easy. It's not killing your ink cartridge. But if you don't have materials that you know you want to use for, let's say, doing your homework or feedback, anything that you have to click back and forth on. So remember, right? I didn't teach last semester. I took some last semester off, but my niece goes to Rio Hondo, and she was doing this with you guys all last semester, and I saw her struggling through it. And so she didn't print out, actually for the last 2 semesters, she didn't print out any of her material for classes, and like no readings, nothing. And then when it came time to actually use them again, she would either have to reread something, which if it's a long, like a 10-page reading, like that's annoying, right? So she it was hard. Plus she was trying to do everything on her phone, like not on her laptop. So she would single-handedly write essays with her phone by flipping back between screens, and that sounds like madness. Like, how do you write down quotes? How are you able to even function like that? It took her forever, and it was complicated, and she forgot a lot of stuff to incorporate things. So all I'm saying is, anecdote for you, like print out the stuff so that you can have it in front of you and you don't have to flip between crazy amounts of windows on your computer, because I know what that feels like, and that feels like madness, at least to me, and it definitely didn't work for her. So all right, so right now, before we answer our stuff about or look at those answers for Cleo, we're going to talk a little bit about what this class is about. Critical thinking. Yeah. So I got this. You guys can read this? It's all readable? Yeah? Anyone?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So is it enjoyable? Like, does it bug you when someone starts a sentence but then stops to like take a bite of food or drink water? Something? They like start a sentence, and so they like hold you captive. It's kind of annoying. Yeah. Drives me crazy too, and yet I totally do that. So critical thinking, I literally got this definition off of Google, and I did it for a reason. The definition and the sentence that it's used in. So Google defines critical thinking as the objective analysis and evaluation of an issue in order to form a judgment. What do you guys think about that? You guys understand that? That's good?
It makes sense.
Yeah, it looks nice. That needs a little bit more, doesn't it? Like
English, please.
What was that?
English, please.
Right? Yeah, exactly. There's a bunch of words in there that actually need to be fleshed out a little bit for you to really like, even for me, like if I read that, I'm like, wait a second, hold on, there's words that have complicated meanings behind them, so I need to really think a little bit more about like each word there. What are some of those words in that definition?
Judgment.
Yeah, judgment, exactly. There's a whole bunch of different meanings for judgment. What else?
Analysis.
Yes, analysis is one of those annoying words that professors and high school teachers throw around and just expect you to know what it means. Like, just analyze it. Analyze the text, and analyze this situation, and then, write your essay on it. And they're not really explaining. So good. Analysis is one of those important ones. What else? Anything else? I mean, you guys probably get what evaluation is, yeah? What about objective? You guys all know what objective is?
Based off of a topic that you want to write about?
So there's two ways of looking at the word objective, and there's a reason why. See, notice, so you definitely want to put this in your notes at least, right? We're going to define objective thinking specifically, because that's what it's talking about here in this context. If we talk about your objective for something, that would be a different kind of objective. That's what your purpose is. But we're talking about a different kind of objective. So you guys tell me what you think the word objective thinking means.
So I have a feeling that it's like a topic that you have an understanding of.
Anyone else? Remember, it's not just on Anton here. He's trying, right? He's putting in the effort. You guys need to step up your game.
You have to focus on like a certain. No.
That's the same definition as before. You're trying though. This is good. Come on, keep going, guys. It's okay to be wrong.
Is objective thinking in a sense of like any ideas or beliefs you put aside in order to get a full, I don't want to say experience, but a different perspective. You're thinking objectively on an issue. You don't have any preconceived beliefs or ideas.
There we go. Okay, so now you're on to it. Good job, Madison. And I know that's like your own words too. You didn't just look that up. That because you're grappling with the idea, or you're using it in a way that that's definitely your own insight. That's good. So yeah, think about it in line with, notice there's two words here, subjective and objective. So you said without bias, pretty much, without pre-existing beliefs or feelings about something. So yeah, write what the heck? Write something like that down. Okay, it doesn't want to let me. Is it because it's because it's a PDF? So what did we say objective thinking was? Without bias.
Do you want me to tell you what I said again?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I kind of put it together right now. I said putting aside any preconceived biasness or ideas or beliefs in order to gain new insight or perspective on an issue. That's pretty long, but you can kind of word it however
Yeah.
you'd like.
So without bias, okay, yeah, so something like that. In your own words too. So you actually added the purpose of objective thinking in there too. So that's good. Look at this hand in hand with subjective thinking also. So if that's what objective thinking is, then what's subjective thinking?
I wouldn't know how to word it, but I would say it's like with bias, like you're kind of stuck in your way of thinking, so you're like more quick to judge.
Yeah, so any of that stuff, it is the opposite. Like you said, it's the opposite of objective thinking. I know that this is not really the root of what these words come out of, but if it helps you remember it, because honestly, it's about remembering what something is. Doesn't have to be pretty. Like I keep thinking of like the way that Michael Scott remembers people's names. It's absurd to us, but it totally helps him remember people's names. That's an Office reference, by the way. If you haven't seen The Office, then I mean, that's expected. It's an older show, but I'm surprised by how many students still watch that show because it's gold. Anyway, yeah, it is, right? Good. So the way that I use to help myself remember the difference between these is like objective is outside of you. It's true. You're trying to understand how something is true or false regardless of what you think about it. So there's objective truth and subjective truth, or objective thinking, subjective thinking. So subjective is like it's subject to you. That's the way that I use the word to try and help me remember. The objective, it's an object outside of you. So it's true regardless of how true or false, regardless of what you feel about it. So you can write any of that stuff down under those. Look at it like this. So if we're talking about truth and not just the thinking aspect of it, so objective truth. Does anyone know any objective truths? Truths that are true no matter what you think about them?
Can I go? Or?
Yeah.
I read an article yesterday about I don't remember if yesterday or the other day. It was about Hurricane Laura.
Mm-hmm.
It said, but it's based off of my objective thinking. But I read through the whole thing like about more than once or twice.
Okay. Well, so laws of nature are objective truths, at least as far as we can perceive. So something like that. There's a hurricane, and sometimes people die in hurricanes. That number of people who die in the hurricane is an objective truth, regardless of if you believe they died or not. Now, us trying to get the numbers on that is can be, we're not sure about the casualties because there's people buried under rubble and stuff like that, but that's another variable in there. Alex, you had something?
It's like objective, like facts, and then subjective is like your own belief.
Yes, exactly. So let's test this really quick. Jose, is your mic on, or is that some?
Oh yeah, sorry, my bad.
No worries, bro. All right, so chocolate is the best flavor of ice cream. Is that subjective or objective?
Subjective.
Wrong. It's I'm playing with you. It's no, it is subjective, right? that is my preference. So no matter how much I think that is the best, right? Even that wording, right? You're noticing that there's some words that are inherently subjective, like the word best. Now, if we say fastest, like the fastest animal on earth, that's not really a subjective thing, right? That's definitely going to be objective. Now, maybe there's like races going on between animals, and you're like, I don't know, we clocked an ostrich going 60 the other day, so that's now the fastest. Or I don't know, where you're like, well, are we talking about water animals, or do they count, or birds? Because a peregrine falcon can get up to 200 and something miles per hour, though they don't have to run. So is that right? Or was it kilometers? I kind of always, when someone's got a British accent and it's on a TV show, sometimes I can't remember if it's weird when people with British accents have to talk in the American Standard system for measurement, right? Kind of tricky there. Anyway, was that Jacqueline or Stephanie that had something to say with that? Or one of you guys? Anyone?
No, not me.
Oh, okay. So you guys get, I guess you guys get, so here's another one. Between objective truth or subjective truth. If I jump off the third story, sounding grim already, jump off the third story of the 26 building on campus, what's going to happen?
You will die.
I'll die, right? Or you could say I'll fall, right? Yeah, those are objective truths. No matter what I think, if I think I'm going to fly, no matter how much I think I'm going to fly, that's not going to happen. It objectively, outside of me, it's true, I am going to fall and potentially die, depending on how I land. Unless I'm some like parkour master, which I am not. Or I hit a tree. How about this though? What if I have a jetpack? Will I fall then?
No.
No.
No? I don't know. I still think I'll fall. I don't think our jetpacks are very good yet. But see, so people get caught off. There's huge arguments out there, guys, about objective truth in the world, like huge philosophical arguments that go around where people would argue that there is no objective truth. But there has to be. There is definitely objective truth. I would argue that there's just variables for that, right? Like, let's say, depending on how specific you get with your question, if I jump off the roof, will I fall or die? Well, if I have a jetpack, that actually changes the answer, but that's really just changing variables in the equation. It's not nullifying that it's not saying that there isn't any objective truth. There clearly is, at least based off of our observations of the laws of nature and things like that. Yeah. What do you guys think? It's a little early for this kind of conversation.
I feel like no, in a way.
So we'll come back to it. So let's keep going, or I feel like you guys might need a break. I think I said something, maybe every hour and a half. I don't know. Kind of depends for you guys how you're feeling on it. You know what? I just realized my chat isn't showing again. Come on. Yeah, I don't even see it on here. Chat, there it is. Yeah, you said, yeah, every hour. I did say that. So we'll see. Yeah, really quick, let me wrap this up then. So first off, it's interesting to see the question that, or sorry, the sentence that Google gave, right? This isn't my sentence. Professors often find it difficult to encourage critical thinking among their students. So a little bit of irony in the situation. But it's honestly, it's difficult for everyone to critically think. I think I mentioned that at the beginning of the syllabus video, that like I teach critical thinking and I still struggle with doing it because it's something you have to actively do. You have to look at so for this circumstance, you have to look at everything as, well, is this an objective claim or is this a subjective claim? Is this, as we're going to see, maybe I should just pull it up now. There's, hey, look, there's Bloom's taxonomy. So there's this pyramid here. Did you guys all see that? So this is a tool that you can use to make sure that you're always critically thinking. So for me, this kind of like runs through my head, or I do this. This is a process. Do you see it? It's also a pyramid, notice, for a reason. It's not just like a flow chart. This is something where, well, it is kind of a flow chart, but it's visualized as a pyramid for a reason. You can't understand something without first remembering it. You can't apply something without understanding and remembering it. You can't analyze something without doing all these things too, right? So when you look down here, we've got remembering, right? And so this is kind of, this is also a cool thing. This keyword thing might help you in other classes where professors are like, just analyze it, you know, and they don't actually explain. So there's tons of keywords that will be in, let's say, a prompt for a discussion or a prompt for an essay or anything like that, that they might use. And they all kind of fall into these kind of categories. You know, when they use different language like this, it's pointing to these kinds of things that they're asking you to do. So you got a definition on the left side, then you've got keywords in the middle, and then you've got tools, tips and techniques on how to make sure that you're doing that, which get less and less descriptive as you go up the pyramid because they're more abstract. So the first thing is, you know, underlining, surprisingly enough, right? You have to remember something in order to understand it, obviously. So one way to remember it is to think about like what you need to remember for a situation. So underlining is key. If you find yourself underlining everything on the page, you're definitely doing it wrong. The thing that you want to do is you want to underline as little as possible while still making sure you've got all the most important information. So I'm already starting to go into that, and we really need to take a break because my stomach's been growling for like, I don't know, the whole time. I'm super hungry. Have you guys heard my stomach growling at all? No, that's good because it feels awkward.
Professor, just a quick question.
Yeah.
So what's the name of that pyramid? Is it Bloom's taxonomy?
Yes. So it's called Bloom's taxonomy, which was created in like the 60s, and it's gone through a couple revisions. This is the second version of it. There's actually like a really, you know what, it might have been the 30s, and then it was revised in the 60s or some 90s. Okay, all my dates are jumbled. That doesn't even matter. I'm a history minor, so I start going into history, and I got to remember, only give you what actually matters, so it's not like throwing too much at you. The whole point, though, is there's a long, like, it's not really long, it's like a short book, but it's still like 60 plus pages on this, and then a bigger one for the revised version. All you need is the pyramid. All you need is this part of it. I'm not trying to get you into a pyramid scheme, by the way. This is just I'm just trying to give you the bare bones of something, because you just need, like, you need to understand the concept so that you can utilize it. And if we just fill your head with a bunch of, like, we just throw a whole book at you, that's not going to be helpful. You're not going to be able to utilize that. So try and make sure you understand the concept more than anything here. And that's what we're doing. So rather than going through the whole text, we're just going to look at the pyramid and understand it. So, which is the second step on the pyramid. Let's see. So really quick, what I wanted to point out to you is that we're going to go over again, and then we'll take our break. Let's see. I mean, you guys are probably like eating cereal and doing whatever this whole time anyway. Oh, man.
You know, Professor?
Uh-huh.
About Bloom's taxonomy or
Yeah.
taxonomy. I I looked at it in a different view, because I looked at it from the top to the bottom.
Oh, yeah. So the thing is, you can't do that and critically think. If you do it from the top to the bottom, then it's not going to actually help you with objective thinking, or with actually trying to get somewhere. Like, can you imagine evaluating something without actually remembering what the thing is that you're evaluating, or without even fully understanding it? Because people could do that. Let me give you a hard example. Your job. Has anyone ever had an evaluation at a job?
Yeah.
Can you imagine if they judged you without even looking at what you've done at work, like your work ethic and the way that you are competent or anything like that? Not even checking to see that you made it to work on time, or even understood that, and they just evaluate you based off of your face, right? That would suck. I mean, at least for me, because, you know.
So it's always from the bottom then?
Yeah, so always, from the bottom to the top, like you're climbing a pyramid, or like, think of it as a foundation, right? Remembering is a foundational element for understanding. Understanding is a foundational element for applying. If you don't do it in this direction, then it will topple. Now, this is the thing. You already do this. You already do this stuff. You just don't really think about it so much. It's about being aware of doing it when it counts. So all of you are experts at something. Did you know that? At something. It could be your favorite TV show. Like if The Office is your favorite TV show and you can like quote every line, you know, every episode. Or, I mean, I don't think you guys are that into The Office, but maybe one of you is like, no, I know like every episode's pranks and things like that. Or you're an expert at it. Anything else that like maybe you're expert at maybe you skate, you're a skateboarder, and so you can do like any skate trick or not. You're an expert at an ollie. Do you guys get the point? So
yeah,
when you're an expert at something, you actually fly through these steps without even knowing it, because you're doing it so fast in your brain. You do all that stuff in order to get there, but it's just super fast. Now, what happens when we go over material, or you are confronted with information that you don't have all the information, or you aren't an expert with? You get what I'm saying? Then it's really important, especially if a lot is writing on how you interpret or how you understand the thing. Like it's really important that you go through the steps carefully and not miss anything. So that's what we're going to do with the thing that we just read and how we answered it. And but first, we're going to take a break. And so it is 10:48. So be back at 11. Yeah. Can we do that? And so I can eat something, and then I'll have like cereal in my teeth, and then we can keep going like that. All right, cool. So be back at 11. I'm gonna leave this up. I'm just gonna like mute myself and turn off my video, and then I'll turn it back on and at 11. All right, cool. All right, I'm back. Is everyone else back?
Professor, I have a quick question.
Yeah, sure.
So the PDF file for Would You Eat Your Cat, would we, after this, go ahead and annotate it, underline, and do close reading, and then that would be what we would turn in for next week in regards of our reading assignment that we have to post?
You can really just, we're actually going to do it together right now. So you can get all that stuff down now. It shouldn't be stuff. So the only stuff that should go in those notes that you have to do outside of the classroom would be anything that you feel is useful from the readings themselves or from the video lectures from YouTube. Like, you shouldn't have to spend extra time on it apart from that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so we're gonna do that right now together, kind of. But you're already on it, right? That's good that you kind of saw that's where we're going. Crap, I just hit the wrong button. What was even up here? Damn. Okay, I had the.
Can we view it on our computer too? The PDF of Will You Eat Your Cat? Or...
Yes, you should be able to see it if you go on Canvas and you open it up. But I'm going to share my screen with you again, and then you should be able to see the text. First, though, I wanted to show you another thing to help you understand yet another concept, which this concept is going to be something you probably want to put in your notes because it's what we're going to wrestle with for the rest of the semester, trying to make sure that we're observing. So let me see here. Share screen. Okay, so you see this image that I put up here?
Yeah.
All right. So once again, it's the Bloom's taxonomy pyramid, but it's also it's got this other little pyramid. I'm really into pyramids lately. I don't know if you noticed, but that was supposed to be funny. It wasn't. So the idea of fact, value, and policy. Wow, my computer's like glitching our faces. That was weird. At least 3 of us were like flipping around a bunch. Did anyone else see that? Okay, so it's just probably my computer doing like a whole bunch of processes at the same time. Anyway, so the crap, I gotta get the chat up again for me. Okay, so if you look at that, yeah, you definitely want to draw it or try and maybe screenshot it and then put it in your Google Doc if that's how you're going to be keeping your notes. It's up to you. But so the idea of so arguments of fact, value, and policy is what we're talking about here. So remember the whole objective and subjective truth and thinking that we were talking about? So no matter what, everything that is said, everything that you say is either a question or a claim. Think about that. So either you're inquiring of something, of you're inquiring of a truth, or you are stating one. But what you're stating is not necessarily truth. It is always a claim of truth, right? Watch your mic there, Anton. Or is that Anton? Someone's mic is blowing up. Who is it? Is it you, Anton?
Yeah.
Is it your mic? Okay, so there's always, so whatever you state as truth is not necessarily true. It's a claim of truth, right? So you're claiming it to be true. And so depending on if it's subjective or objective, right? That's the difference between fact and value. So value claims are going to be subjective. They're going to be dependent on you or multiple people's feelings about something, whereas arguments of fact or claims of fact are going to be claiming to be objectively true, like for everyone. Now, the thing is, there's a lot of that going around, especially now. It's just gotten more and more where people just say thoughts, you know? Did you hear how I did that with that? Tried to do. I'm really bad with voices, so I'm definitely going to fail at the voices every time. But you know, when people just say facts or science in their comments on stuff, have you ever seen that? Anyone? Yeah. Okay. So when people do that, they're making a claim of fact, but it's not necessarily true. It has to all be substantiated. So oftentimes it's actually false because there's a bunch of spreading false information, which is really funny because, so I thought that we were free from this because we have the internet now. So when I was a kid, all my information was disseminated through other people and books. I couldn't just look something up on the internet. You guys can't actually understand that in an empirical way. You can't understand, so empirical meaning like tangible, you've never experienced that, right? Unless someone here is my age. I'll tell you my age later. But have you guys all always had Google at your fingertips pretty much, or somewhere in the house that you could just type in a question or ask Siri?
No.
Okay, well, stop making me look bad, all right? You at least get my point where it is accessible. You could get to it. Maybe it's not at your fingertips on your phone because you didn't have a phone until you were 12 or whatever it is, but you still had a house computer, and you knew that you could go to a source and find the information without hearing it from your drunk uncle. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because all of my information came from other people's drunk uncles. I never had a drunk uncle. Actually, I do, but I never talked to them. There's two. So all my information came from older kids or whatever. So obviously, that information is probably going to be flawed. It's just going to be one person telling another person, telling another person. It's a game of telephone. And a lot of the information I had as a kid was not true. Or it was based on stereotypes or based on one person's experience with something, which depends, right? It depends on that person and their circumstances. There's so many variables to the scenario. What if that person had a jetpack on, right? What if they were white being pulled over at 2 a.m. as opposed to being black or whatever? Do you guys get what I mean? Right? There's all these variables, and so anecdotes are problematic. Though they're still useful. What I mean by anecdote is like it's like a story or an experience that someone gives to help understand something else. Yes? You can write that down if you need. or you probably already know what it is. Just don't confuse it with the word don't confuse it with the word antidote, right? An antidote is a cure for a like poison or something, right? So anecdote is what I just said. All right, cool. You already knew this stuff. So the reason why I'm talking so much about this though is because, seriously, I'm not joking with you. The whole Bloom's taxonomy thing and how I said that you want to be able to go through that every time you're faced with new information that you are unfamiliar with, or something that's a really important decision that you're making, where you're having to assess something. Notice assess is similar to evaluate. You should be going through all those steps, especially when, let's say, your grade is riding on it. So that's one aspect of it. This fact value policy thing right here is also another thing, because depending on the person's claims, depending on what information is coming at you, are they just claiming that ice cream is the best flavor, or sorry, are they just claiming that chocolate is the best flavor of ice cream? Because with that, it's like, well, what do? You don't care. It's just their opinion. But when they claim that all Republicans are racist, well, that's a claim of fact, and it's also something that would have an effect on you possibly. So you're always going to try and assess at the same time. You're trying to assess, what is this claim? Is it a claim of fact, value, or policy? Do you guys know what a claim of policy would be?
Could it be like based off of information that you know, something that you know already?
So you are right, but well, not that you know already, but it's always based on information. Notice these correlate on this. There's a reason why I put it next to the Bloom's taxonomy pyramid, because by the way, I had to make this. No one spelled this out for me either, but I noticed pretty easily that these are, or after teaching it for a couple semesters, these correlate, these are related. So in order to get to understanding a fact claim, or to be able to prove a fact claim, you have to go at least to the 4th level of Bloom's taxonomy. You have to go through all of those steps. And then in order to make a value claim on something, or to yourself, or to be able to assess or evaluate a value claim, you have to get all the way to evaluating. And then policy is where you're creating something new. So a claim of policy comes along. That's when you're actually, it's not just you saying ice cream is the best flavor. Sorry, dang, I keep saying that. It's not just you saying chocolate is the best flavor of ice cream. It's you saying, no more shall anyone ever eat any other flavor of ice cream. They shall all only eat chocolate, because chocolate is the best flavor of ice cream. Now, this is obviously not how, we don't have any policies like that, but that, do you get it? Where policy is now affecting other people, where you are now implementing all of those things to create a new policy, and this, or you are arguing for it, right? A claim of policy would be something more along the lines of, I think we should make wearing masks mandatory when going into places of business, because, and then you have to go through all those values of fact, values of policy, or sorry, values of fact, claims of fact, and claims of value, in order to get to making your argument for policy. You see that? You see how steps in the pyramid, you have to do these things before? This is applicable to you because your last essay is going to be a claim of policy essay, where you're going to have to, so you'll see in the syllabus, in the schedule, that there will be I'll get to you in a second, Madison. There will be, the first essay is just on analysis. Second essay is you're going to make arguments of fact. Third essay, arguments of value. And fourth is going to be arguments of policy, but you will have to do every other thing to get to that next level as you go. So you're going to build each time. Madison, what do you got?
Okay, I was hoping if you can explain a little bit more. Like, I understand like the different steps, but trying to understand what the biggest difference is between analyzing and evaluating.
Okay. You know, I blame myself here. I actually, I think I jumped the gun a little bit. We should have walked through each of these steps a little bit first before I brought this up, but it does come up pretty quick as we go. So you're on the right page. I just was jumping ahead in pages. So that's a metaphor. So let's start with, okay, don't look at this sheet. So you didn't print it out, so I can actually hide it from you. You can't see the bottom, right? Correct? You can't see the definitions?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so you do have the pyramid over here and down here though. So why don't you tell me, I'm gonna hide that a little. Isn't that weird that this is blocking, like this is always on the front? I don't like that because I kind of wanted to move the pages how I wanted. Oh, I don't know what happened there. Okay, stop screwing with things. No, that's the wrong one. I'll get it back. Okay, there's that one. There's that one and that one. All right, cool. So what do you guys think? All right, we're pretty, you guys have an understanding of what remembering is, what understanding is. So remembering is actually like pulling from the information that you're given, right? The content. Understanding is actually what to do with that. Applying is actually doing the thing with it. Analyzing. What do you think a good definition of analyzing is? By the way, you could write these in your, well, you could write them in your notes. I always suggest writing definitions in your notes just because like there are definitions on this sheet for what those mean, but they are not in your own words. So I do suggest you write definitions in your own words because once again, it's about making sure that you will remember it and that you understand it, as opposed to trying to fit your thinking into my thinking. Like you still want to understand me and what I'm throwing at you, but you also want to be able to utilize this stuff. So that's what these notes are for. Put it in your own words and then don't be too wordy with it. Like don't drag it out. Don't make everything into complete sentences. That's just going to give you more that you have to look at when you go back to these. So remember, notes don't need complete sentences. Your essays do. All right, and your reading responses. What was I going to say with that? Oh yeah, what's your definition of analysis? Like just we're struggling through this here. What was that?
To get in depth with the topic that you want to study.
Who else?
I think when you analyze is when you break like something down and you place closer attention to it in order to either interpret it or understand it easily or more clearly. I don't know.
Stephanie, did you look that up or what? Because that's like the perfect definition.
No, it was my definition.
That's cool. No, seriously though, your wording at the very beginning too, like break it down. That is exactly what you're doing with analysis. You are breaking it down into its constituent or its smaller parts. So has anyone seen a candy bar or, well, not a, anything with a wrapper with a label on it. Yes, that was a rhetorical question. You don't have to answer that. All right, so have you guys ever seen the thing on the back where it tells you all the ingredients? You probably can't see that well, but do I do this like the makeup tutorials? I don't watch makeup tutorials. Yeah. It says nutrient facts on it, but what this actually is a food analysis. So what you're getting here is they're literally telling you the ingredients, and they're telling you the components of nutrients that are in the ingredients. You get that? So you are, like Stephanie said, breaking it down into its smaller parts and then understanding those, right? So that you can understand the whole together. So anytime your professor just says analyze it, that's all that's in analyzing something, to truly understand the thing by breaking it down. Perfect. So write down her definition right there. Once again, yeah, if you guys feel benevolent, you know that you're a good person and want to share any of your notes like that, remember, don't share a bunch, because that's going to fill up quick. But if you want to either put it in the comments or put it especially in the class notes, like the collaborative ones, you can do that. Oh, I wonder if I'm getting notifications for that. You know, I'll have to address that later so we don't waste time. But yeah, if any of you guys try to add to those notes, I'll be able to accept and sign you on as an editor of that document after class, and then you can throw it in there if you want. You're not actually getting points for that. That's just like you scratch someone else's back and they're going to scratch yours later, hopefully. Paying it forward, that's another way people talk about that. I don't know. It all sounds cheesy. nothing that everyone's already said something, right? Or everything's already been said before. So yeah, perfect definition of analysis. And then from there, once you can do that, evaluating, what do you think evaluating does, or is based off of? How do you do it? We'll come back to that. I'm once again jumping ahead. We don't even have to understand those. We should be applying it first. Otherwise, if you don't have something tangible or an example, examples are really important. It's good to throw them in your essays. It's really good to throw them in your essays in the right spot so that you're helping your reader to understand what you're saying. So I gave you guys some abstract ideas. Now we're going to make them tangible a bit with the text that we all read together. So first, let's go back to our, every time I do this, it's going to be annoying. Did that pop up on the screen? Our right and wrong answers? Why it was right and wrong? Cool. Yes. All right. So we're going to look through these. If you wrote them down, this is going to be easier for you now, because all you'll have to do is write. We're going to do objective or subjective. So we're going to, I'm just going to write an O or an S next to the statement. And you can do the same in your notes. And you could even write a little key. O means objective, S means subjective if you want, but hopefully you'll also remember this too, because it's pretty straightforward and you already have the definitions of it on your page. Maybe you can put an arrow. It's really up to you. So we're going to go through these and we're going to see which claims. Remember, everything that you say is either an inquiry or a claim of fact or value or policy. So kind of cool. If you really understand that kind of thing, it's going to make assessing everything that comes at you easier to process. Just don't become a machine. Like my wife and my niece have a hard time with me because I turn everything into a critical thinking exercise. I'm a little broken as a human, but I think we all are. I'm just telling you, don't like learn from this class and just don't break like I am broken. Because then you have less friends when you analyze the crap out of everything they say. All right, anyway, I just can't shut it off. Was that clear enough? I can't shut it off. All right. All right, so let's go through wrong first. We started with wrong before. So objective or subjective? So don't eat pets. I said met. Sorry. Meant to be loved, respected, not eaten. So you don't eat pets. What do you think? Is this statement, is this claim objective or subjective?
Subjective?
Yeah, it's subjective, right? Now, because, why? Why is it subjective?
Not everyone thinks like that.
Yeah. Also, on top of that, right? So there's a couple things. We're talking about animals here. Not all animals are pets, right? Love looks different too. That's a very subjective thing. Wow, did I just spell mint like I corrected it? Corrected it wrong. That's bad. Wow, dude. Learn English. You don't eat pets? Well, it really depends. Okay, so we'll come back to that. If you guys have anything else to say about that one too, to explain a little bit more, go for it. Consent. Was Hector able to consent?
No.
No.
So this is what?
Uh,
Subjective or objective? So what you're doing right now, you're slowly answering, contemplating, because, my bad, you have to look at the text, right? So anytime, this is why I say print things out, it'll be easier. Now, right now we're doing an exercise together, but you're looking at the text to see if it's objective, right? Did he consent? In the text.
Subjective, he couldn't consent because he was dead, right?
He couldn't consent because he was dead. So it's not subjective though, because that's objective. Yeah, it's objective. It's a fact. He was not able to consent. Now, if we say, well, based off the text though, she says she knew that he would be okay with it. I mean, that is objectively in the text. However, is that a true claim? That's a claim of fact. Is it true or false? That's not rhetorical. I'm asking you, is it true or false?
It's false.
It is false. He can't. Can he speak English? Can she definitively know that he is okay with that? What if he believes that he should be cremated? What if he believes in normal burial, or that his feet should be pointed west when he's buried? Like, you guys don't even know, right? How's he supposed to be able to communicate that information?
Yeah, he's dead.
Yeah, I know it's hard to tell that when I'm joking, because I've got like this monotone Kermit the Frog kind of sounding voice. I apologize for that. My joking does take a little while to get used to. I try to smile bigger when I'm doing it, and it still doesn't work very well. It's also just probably not funny, which I'm not here for laughs, guys, so I understand, right? But yeah, the whole point is he can't consent. There's no way that he can tell her that he is hungry, right? A cat can communicate that information. Cat can communicate the information that they're pissed off. They can communicate several things, but they cannot communicate how they want their remains to be treated, correct? Objectively, yes. All right. No matter how you believe about that, that is objectively true. All right. So what about this one? Dehumanizes, morally wrong, makes her untrustworthy.
That would be objective. Having like objective.
Anyone else?
I think it's
Subjective.
Yeah, no, this one's subjective too. So the reason why is because that all depends on, like it says in, I mean, each of these is subjective, right? The very wording of morally wrong, each person has different morals, correct? So even the trustworthy one, what do you think about that? Let's say you have, is there any information in the text that might, in a value way, in a subjective way, make you feel that she is actually more trustworthy for doing this? Can anyone think of anything? This is a little outside the box.
Can you repeat it again?
Is there anything in the text that might make you feel she is more trustworthy as opposed to whoever said she is less trustworthy because she did this dehumanizing, immoral thing?
Maybe the promise.
Yes, Anton, you are correct, right? Think about this, guys. Now, it's still a value, this is still a value argument, but it's from the other side. She made a promise, and she held up her end of the promise. She didn't chicken out. She ate him. She promised that she would eat him, and she did it. That kind of sounds, that's at least an argument for her being trustworthy. You can trust her for her word. If she says she's going to eat her cat, she's going to do it. Man, what else was she down to do? She'd probably jump off a cliff. If you guys ever go like hiking and there's like a waterfall and like cliffs that you can jump off into a pool of water, and someone's like, man, I'm totally going to do that. And then they get there and then they chicken out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So like that person's not, you can't trust their word. They're wishy-washy, at least about stuff like that. But so remember, that's still value though. That's still a subjective claim, but just from the other side. See how you can make arguments on both sides? This is how you get a paper, by the way. Most of it is in the realm of value. Most of the claims you're making are going to be using facts, but you're going to be using facts to articulate a value argument, which is still just opinion. But to get people to change opinions, sorry, I don't know why I picked this up. This is for dusting off pictures. Looks weird. Anyway, okay, next one. By the way, you guys see how this 4-hour class, I can talk for 4 hours. Like that's not the problem. The problem is making sure you guys are able to learn for 4 hours. So, I mean, it would be one thing if you were talking the whole time, right? You can pay attention to yourself, but when it's like some random dude talking because he thinks that his voice sounds good, then that's another thing. So, obsession over good. You can tell where my camera is because I'm looking around it, right? Obsession over good. Why did I word it like that? That's weird, right? Obsession over good relationship. Oh, so like meaning she is obsessed rather than this is a good relationship. Is that subjective or objective?
Objective.
It's subjective, correct. Some people view obsession differently. Look at all the Karens out there. Do you think that they think they're obsessed?
No.
No one thinks they're a Karen, right?
Yep, that's right.
Has anyone here ever been a Karen? I've totally been what other people would perceive as a Karen. Go on, Jacqueline, what were you going to say?
Yes, but only for a short time.
Yeah, totally. I get you. Here's another thing. You guys ever been in traffic on the freeway?
Yeah.
You live in Southern California. You've been in traffic. Guess what? You are traffic. You are traffic. When you are in traffic, you are traffic. But no one wants to look at it that way. They want to look at it as like, by the way, my wife made that up. She's way smarter than me. I thought it was brilliant though. Don't you think? That's a pretty good one. You're not in traffic, you are traffic. I guess you can be in both, right? You are in it, but you are it at the same time. Anyway, so that is that was applicable. Keeping it a secret. This is a complicated claim. So think about it. Is this subjective or objective? Her keeping it a secret, does that make it wrong? Is it subjective or objective?
That's subjective also.
Right, because on the other side, are there things that you can keep secrets for right reasons?
Yeah.
Yeah, think about hiding Jews in the Holocaust, right? Keeping their existence in your walls or in your rafters or in your basement a secret is a good thing, was a good thing in World War II, right? That's super. So there's ways that you can keep a secret that are a good thing. What about in the text? How would this, we're going to come back to this. Just know we're going to come back to it, but it is definitely subjective. Couldn't taste good. Cats, there's no way it would taste good. What do you think?
Objective.
Objective? Is that like my chocolate ice cream thing?
That's what I was about to say.
That's subjective also.
Yeah, no, I got you. It's a joke. Wait, why did I put objective? Oh, subjective. It is subjective because people have different tastes. Actually, I used to love candy when I was a kid, and now I'll still eat sweet things, but it'll typically be like cookies or something else, and I'll get like overloaded on sugar. As a kid, I could just like guzzle sugar. I remember one time I made my mom taught me how to make chocolate chip cookies early on. And so I remember one day my mom walking in the door and I had stopped in the process. All I had added was butter and sugar. And I was just eating those straight out of the bowl, butter and sugar. And my mom freaked out at me. But I got like half of it down. And so my whole point is like now there's no way I could do it. Tastes change. Even in the same individual, they change over time. So can't taste good. That's not necessarily true. I wonder if what's that one dude, the chef that like yells at people all the time?
Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah, Gordon Ramsay, right? Do you think he could make it taste good? I mean, have you ever had mutton? Mutton is old sheep. And it's like really gamey tasting like up front, but like if you cook it right, it can taste good. So I don't know. Can't taste good, subjective, gross. That's what? Come on, everyone.
Subjective.
Yeah.
Yeah, subjective.
Definitely.
Someone likes it.
Yeah. Kids say broccoli is gross. You might still say broccoli is gross, but that's subjective. Better options for honoring.
Subjective.
It's still subjective. It is still subjective, although it is more complicated, right? You're pointing to something else, right? Well, there are more options for it, and but it's still subjective, right? It doesn't mean which one's better or best, right? So culturally taboo, I mean, that's true. Objectively, this is culturally a taboo somewhere, but cultural taboos are subjective in and of themselves. You guys get it?
Yeah.
Cool.
Depends on the culture also.
Yeah, exactly. It depends on the culture that you're in. Not harming anyone. So we're on right now, or we're saying she was right for it. Not harming anyone. True or false?
Objective, like true?
It is objective, and it's true. See, you guys are already getting this, right? When we're working within the realm of objective, so it can still be an objective claim, but then be false, right? So the way that you know is you go and you look at the thing, and we'll talk a little bit more about how to do that. But right now we're looking at what we would call this is content, right? So this is our world of understanding. It's a hypothetical situation. I'm pretty sure this didn't really happen. Actually, if you look at the book, they actually built this this scenario off of a Simpsons episode where Homer falls in love or becomes friends with or falls in love with or feels empathy towards a lobster that he was going to eat. So something like that. There's so many Simpsons episodes and I haven't seen it since I was a kid. So, so this is a hypothetical, but it's still like, this is all our information for truth and for being able to assess the situation right now. So having to go to it, we see it's objective and we see that it's true because, well, how did Hector die?
A lawnmower?
Lawnmower. Well, that's what she'd like you to think. Who's running no, see, that's the thing. We have to trust. What was that?
I was thinking, where did she put the lawnmower in? Because how could a cat mistake a big lawnmower for a small mouse?
Right. So yeah, exactly. Like there are things that you could do to the text and be like, well, we don't know. We have no idea about this other stuff. So I mean, if you want to go that route, you can. But for our analogy here, we just have to trust the text itself because it's a hypothetical. So let's not break our brains. Stephanie, you had something?
No.
No? All right. What else? Okay, so Hector's not harmed. Okay. What about Cleo? Did she harm herself?
No, it says she never suffered any illness. She lived to an old age.
Correct. Did you see that? You went to the text, and there's a reason why it's in the text, right? So you get information out of this text. Not only so she didn't. There's a couple other things about that, right? Because there's other ways you can hurt yourself. So, but we know that she physically didn't hurt herself because she lived to a she never, what did it say? Word for word, it says she never suffered any ill effects, and she lived to a ripe old age. What else? How else could she have hurt herself?
Like emotionally?
Emotionally.
She regretted her decision, so she was like fine with it for her whole life.
That's right. And even though it's subjective over, that kind of thing, it's still her thing, right? It's her opinion. She never regretted it. So we can say that this is objective for that reason, and for that it's actually in the text. It's true. We're trusting her in this scenario that she never regretted it. And so, like you guys said, we just got we got the no regrets one on there, but now we know for sure she never harmed her. So she didn't get harmed in the process. He didn't get harmed in the process. Could anyone else have been harmed here? And were they?
I feel like it would somewhat.
Who could have
herself somehow, in a way, somehow.
Well, so it doesn't tell us she hurt herself, and it kind of covers all the bases, right? Mentally and physically, and I guess spiritually, because she honored him in the way she wanted, right? But yeah, come on, guys. Anyone else? Who else could be hurt? This is, again, outside the box, but there's still information that indicates if anyone else was hurt or not. It's just harder to extrapolate. It's near the end, if that helps.
I mean, if someone found out.
Yep. Good job, Alex. Yeah. No one found out though, right?
No, she kept it a secret, so no one.
That's right. Good job, Stephanie. Yeah, so she kept it a secret. So what we thought was for a bad purpose can actually be argued for good. So think about this with me. She eats Hector, let's say it's a Sunday night, and then she goes to work, and it's lunchtime because she's doing her work during the day. She goes sits down at the lunch tables with her other colleagues, and they pull out their lunch, and then she pulls out hers, but then she remembers, oh, hey, guess what, guys? Do you know what I ate for dinner last night? And then she tells them, and then they're like, oh, I'm not hungry anymore. Right? So she couldn't have physically hurt someone here, but she could have mentally, pained people and made them queasy from telling them right before they ate. Do you see how there's the potential to harm another person in this scenario, but she didn't? So we have the answer there. So now the reason why we stress this one so much is because not harming anyone is a huge deal in what we call this criteria. So on that pyramid, remember the pyramid thing? The Bloom's taxonomy? When you get to evaluating, you're evaluating, what you're doing is you make a claim that is now value. So first in analysis, your claims are fact, right? You extrapolate the data, and it is a fact that this bar has 30 milligrams of sodium in it, and that it has a total of 18 grams of carbs. That is a fact. I can point to the fact. You get it? Right? But when you come to evaluating something like, was this a good movie? Is this a great movie? Well, you still want to utilize facts, because everything you do is trying to be as objective as possible, but you can't help but reach into the realm of value, which is subjective opinion, right? So in that case, right, I can say this is a good, so we're going to switch metaphors again. This is a good, I'm not paid by this brand. This is a good breakfast bar because it has a high protein, low carb, high nutrients and low badness. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm pointing to facts as opposed to, and then I could even compare it to another one, like some other breakfast bar that's just practically sugar. Look, I could even point to stuff like no gluten, it's gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free, it's non-GMO. So I could point to all those things as facts to then make the value argument that this is a good or better than most breakfast bar. Make sense? So the reason why, wait, where are we going with that? Up to analysis, you're just dealing with facts, and you don't have to actually step over and make an opinionated claim. Everything else is like, this is just in there. It's there, it's proven or provable. But then once you get to evaluation, now you have to have what we call criteria. So what makes something a good movie? Or what makes something, let's just stick with a bar. What makes something a good breakfast bar? Well, good nutrients, good sources of certain, so nutrients in the sense of like, let's say all organic. This isn't all organic, but all organic. So that means like not weird chemicals that are going to further down the road maybe give you endocrine disruptors and problems with your body. That's criteria for me for it to be a good bar. Second, it has to have high protein. So I'm dealing with facts as criteria, which is different than just, you see how it gets more complicated? It's definitely getting more complicated. A good movie, go to that metaphor now. Well, you break it up into categories, criteria categories like cinematography. What's the dialogue like? What's the plot like? What is, how are the scenes shot? Do you see how in order to answer an evaluative kind of claim or make an evaluative claim, you really have to start reaching into what we call criteria now? Yeah? Did you guys write anything about that down? So I feel like that had to do with, yeah, so we're going to go back there. We're going to go back there. It's her cat. Let her do what she wants. Objective or subjective?
Objective.
What do you think? How is it one or the other?
Because it's the fact that it's her cat.
It's her cat. That's objective. Let her do what she wants with it.
That's subjective.
Subjective feelings about it until we make policy. And then what's the policy? Are there states or countries that say that you are not allowed to eat your cat?
Yeah, there are laws.
There are laws in some states. There's a law that says you're not allowed to ride a elephant down Temple Street next to Mount Sac. Did you know that?
No. Yeah. Is that serious?
Do you know why that's a law? Well, I'm sure you can assume, right? Someone must have at some point ridden an elephant down the street. So we'll talk more about policy later. We're not going to get there all that quickly. No illness. That kind of we already answered that, didn't we? It was objective, correct? Let's see. I feel like you guys are dying on me now. When we took a break almost an hour ago. Man, okay. We'll try and speed through this. Help me speed through this. Wanted to feel closer or closer to him after he passed.
Subjective.
Subjective.
It is subjective. Okay, she made a promise. That is true.
That's subjective.
But so it's true, but it's so what we're really assessing here. Like, yes, in the text, it says she made a promise, but I keep forgetting to leave this uncovered for you. But what you should really be assessing in that scenario is, does she have to keep the promise? And that is subjective, right? Why do you have to? People promise a lot of things, unless you're like, no, if you promise something, then you better keep that promise. I mean, kind of depends. We also vary on how we feel about that depending on the authority of someone, right? If a president makes a promise, or if the CEO of a company makes a promise, we feel more inclined that they better keep the promise, because other people are, the more people are being affected by it, the more we feel that they should keep it, unless it's a bad promise and then we wish they never made it to begin with, which is a whole nother scenario. Not really, but you get it, right? Okay. I know this stuff is like obvious, or this may seem obvious to you, but we're getting somewhere. And if we go through this slowly now, you will be able to fly through it better when we get into more difficult issues. So no one could understand just how deep their love is. Subjective. You don't need to answer. Thought it might taste good. Curious. Knew he would be fine or happy with it. Subjective and false. How does she know he'd be happy with it? Whatever. Subjective, and if it's, yeah, okay. Seems to have been done respectfully. Last one. What is it?
Subjective.
Yeah. Yeah, good. Thank you for humoring me on all that. I know. Now let's go through these. Which side has more, between the right and the wrong, which side has more objective things? More objective evidence?
The right.
Right.
The right side does. And that doesn't mean it's true. That still doesn't mean it's right. What it does mean is we've done the process correctly so far. We've remembered what is in the text, right? Because this is our only source we can work with at the moment. We've remembered it, and we've gone to it. The right side is pulling from facts that are found in the text that we have to trust for this. And they're pulling the right ones. So you're already, we went through remembering, understanding, and applying. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
We already did those. So understanding is understanding which things to pull, right? Based off of the question, which the question is, was she right or wrong? So already knowing that the question is she right or wrong? Right or wrong is a moral thing, which means we are now already, you're being asked the question of evaluation. You have to get to the point of at least evaluation with answering that question. So you understand that, and now you have to pull what are the things to remember in order to answer that properly. So her eating after 8 mints, is that a fact that you need? No, you don't need that fact. You don't need the fact that they'd watch reruns of Melrose Place. You don't need the fact that she would actually take him to the grocery store and have him ride around in the cart. You don't need any of those facts. What you need to answer if she's right or wrong is, did anyone get hurt, right? As number one, that's a criteria. That's actually why I brought up the whole criteria thing to begin with. Was she, so think about that. If she's right or wrong, your number one criteria for that is to answer that question. If someone is right or wrong for doing something. Okay, I'm walking along. I'm walking along the street. I see a baby in a stroller. I pick up the baby. I smile at the baby. I drop kick the baby. I drop kick the baby across the street. Is that right or wrong?
Wrong. I mean, wrong.
It is wrong. Why? What's your criteria for why that's wrong?
Because babies aren't supposed to be kicked.
Why? Why aren't they supposed to be kicked?
They're humans too.
Right. Go back further though. See, you're coming to understanding without stating the criteria for why that's important or how you got there. You're doing it. You're going faster through the process. What is your criteria for why babies shouldn't be drop kicked across the street? Anyone.
You can hurt the baby.
That will hurt the baby. Thank you. I know that's like, see, you guys are trying to give me more than I'm asking for. A lot of the time, it's just asking for that simple answer, and it's not condescending, thinking that, oh, what, you can't give like a better answer. We are trying to understand what criteria is, right? Your first criteria is in that situation is the baby going to be harmed by that? Check yes. That would definitely hurt a baby, especially with their soft head. That would hurt an adult. That would hurt anyone. I wouldn't be able to pick up the adult, but if I kicked an adult, and that's wrong because those other criteria that you stated, Anton, right? Because they're a human too. If I have rights not to be hurt, then why wouldn't that person have rights not to be hurt? So likewise, and we come up to this idea of a social contract, which is we exist together and don't hurt each other because we don't want to be hurt also, correct? So that's the idea of why we obey laws, other than not wanting to get in trouble for breaking them, because we want other people to uphold the laws too, because that's what it takes to be a fully functioning society. And now we're making arguments of policy. You get it? We'll probably come back to that like 10 times. Just not today, thank God. You can tell I'm already tired, right? So I want to get through it too. Applying. Within applying and analyzing and evaluating, we start getting a little bit more complicated here. So something that almost got touched on but didn't actually get touched on was applying it. How else can we apply this scenario? So we've already been thinking about it in a context. So this is content. Whoa, my screen was glitching again. This is content, but it's in a context. In the context that you were probably thinking was America, right? Where she's in America, I mean, she actually talks with British words like trolley. The trolley is the cart. Yeah. And I think she said one other thing, jolly. We don't say jolly here. I don't think. I don't. So whatever, say we're in America, but what happens if we apply this? Is there somewhere else that we can apply this to, which might change the decision over if she's right or wrong? Because we still actually haven't answered that question completely yet. Is there another place that we could look to tell to weigh in on the matter? So right now we've already looked at it with a perspective, but it's the perspective's here. How do we make the perspective bigger? So apply it not just to America, but somewhere else. Can anyone think of, so we talked about cultural taboos. That is a cultural taboo here for sure, because we think of cats as pets and stuff like that. But is there another place that people are totally cool with eating cats? Or possibly other things that we think of as pets?
China,
Wuhan.
Mexico.
Wuhan.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, see, that's the thing. We just had all this go down. No one even knew, really, not no one, but a lot of students were like amazed when we would say stuff like that. Yeah. When we get to the point where we already understand that people eat bats in other parts of the world, thinking about eating a cat is really not really as bad. I mean, it's literally bats are flying rodents, right? So if you're willing to eat a rat, then you're probably willing, or you don't look down on eating a cat. So China, sure. Mexico, what do they eat in Mexico?
Dogs.
Really? I actually didn't know that. China, do they eat dogs there too?
Not openly, but they do.
You're saying in Mexico. Okay. I had a
Repeat the question, Professor. Sorry.
In China, do they eat dogs? So where else do they eat dogs? So we got Mexico. What about China?
Yes.
Yes, they do. Korea?
No.
Maybe.
So what do you think the Jindo is? That's a dog breed. Supposedly, Korea is actually the one. So they'll eat dogs in China, Mexico, Polynesian islands. One of my students one semester said that his whole island, I think he was Tongan, and he said on his island the main source of protein, like meat, was dog. So, I mean, when you live on an island and you're not able to get food resources, kind of changes the scenario too. So think about that also. What happens if you don't have a source of food and you are actually going to starve? Then would you eat a cat or a dog? Does that change your answer on if it's right or wrong a little bit for your criteria?
Yeah.
It would, huh? Also, so we've seen. So the reason why I brought up Korea and the Jindo dog is actually that they have a dog meat trade where I think they're one of the only countries in the world that actually has it set up on an industrial level where they breed the dogs to be eaten. Also, there's a couple provinces in China that have at least one that has a dog meat festival. Have you heard of that?
No.
Every once in a while, it gets shown throughout like social media where people are like, save these dogs because they're, well, so now there's another scenario. She eats her cat, but her cat had a happy life, or as far as we can tell. What would you say if that animal is kept in a cage or actually tortured in the process before eating them?
It would still be bad.
It would definitely be bad at that point, but what's your criteria for that?
That not every animal should be eaten.
Just eaten?
Or tortured.
There we go. Now we're starting to talk about like animal and human rights. So if you eat an animal, that's one argument, or that's one thing, right? If we should or shouldn't eat animals. But torturing them, that on top of it, I'm pretty sure even people who think that it's okay to eat animals would also agree that they shouldn't be tortured, though. Because they are, especially if they're a sentient being, right? When you do you guys know what I mean by sentient? So like there's ants that, or there's plants too. Plants, they don't really have a mind, right? They grow and they move, but they do move over time. What do you think's happening when they grow? Have you ever seen slow motion of that? Like, it's technically movement. But there's there's animals that are on a smaller level that you see, but then you got like horses or elephants or blue whales or a dog, right? And there's like levels of intelligence in these beings, right? Do you think cows are unintelligent beings?
No.
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 Also, kind of depends on how you treat the animal too. Have you ever has anyone ever described their dog as being just dumb? Like to you? Oh, they're just a dumb dog. Okay. Have you ever known anyone who treats their dog like a member of their family, like like a person practically?
Yeah.
Have you noticed have you ever tried to correlate like the difference in intelligence of those animals, even if it's the same breed? Now, if we're talking breeds of dogs, there are different levels of intelligence there, right? Like if you're comparing an Italian hound, they're at like a 3 out of 10. 3 out of 10 in intelligence, and a German Shepherd, which is at like a 9 or a 10 when you're comparing dog breeds. And that's because one was bred for one reason and one was bred for another reason, intelligence being a really important factor for German Shepherds, and then cuteness and smallness being a factor for the Italian Hound, right? So Italian Hounds are pretty dumb. It's really difficult to potty train them. And yet, if you compare an Italian Hound that has been treated like a member of the family as opposed to like Jenna Marbles, does anyone know who that is? She's like a YouTuber.
Yeah,
Yeah.
seen her dogs. They're really cute.
Yeah, super cute. Obviously, that's an Italian Hound. That dog is probably more intelligent than someone who keeps their Italian Hound outdoors and doesn't communicate with them or anything like that too. So there's levels of intelligence that way. We got way far off the topic. I apologize for that, but it is actually applicable because we're still talking about criteria here. So intelligence, levels of intelligence, shouldn't that factor into if like how an animal feels pain? Do you think ants feel pain? It's not going to be the same way you feel pain or a horse feels pain, that's for sure. So ideas of torture and rights of beings, your criteria for that might have to do with their intelligence and their capability of feeling. Maybe? Would you say that that's a good way to go about that? Yeah, maybe, probably. It depends. Depends on if you think like that or you are the person who drop kicks babies across the street. So hopefully there's no one like that. Oh man. Anyway, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to wrestle with subjective things, but as objectively as possible. And so right here, we've now given ourselves scenarios, different ways of applying the situation to try and see, well, would this be right or wrong in other areas? Let's flip the script on us. Are there things that we eat here that other people in the world would be offended by? Because we are offended by someone eating a cat. And yet in other parts of the world, sorry, one quick thing. I was walking down the street in China. This is real. And have you ever been to a Chinese restaurant and you see like a glazed duck hanging in the window?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I saw a glazed half of a dog hanging in the window. And I was offended. But I mean, I also don't know if yeah, see, so there's complications there. Also, it doesn't help that dog looks exactly like my dog. The dogs that they eat in China, that's kind of what my dog looks like, which is like a dingo. She pretty much just looks like a dingo. She's a mutt. Anyway, are there things that we eat here that other parts of the world would be offended by? Sorry, go on. Not all at once, but please answer. Anyone?
Pork.
What?
Pig, pork, right? Pork.
Pork, swine. You are correct. Where and or who and why?
In Arab countries, they don't. I think they don't do it because it's against their religion, right?
That's right. Their criteria is Abrahamic law. Well, so it's Islam, but it's based off of who else doesn't eat pork for religious reasons. Well, you said Arab, right? So, I mean, close to
Muslim, right?
So Muslims, but who else doesn't eat pork? Anyone know?
Vegetarian? No.
Well, sure. For religious reasons, though. Jews? Jewish people? Jewish people don't eat pork either. So within all that, like the Old Testament, God commanded the people not to eat pork. For among many other things, they're also not supposed to eat the blood. So the way that you prepare the meat is super important too. So same father Abraham had many sons. That's a song that none of us learned, but it's the same, right? Abraham had 2 kids, and then from them came the Jewish faith and the Islamic faith eventually, and both of them adhere to this same thing, which is don't eat pork and don't drink the blood of animals, or don't like strangle it. See, in America, to like make the meat nice and juicy, we tend to kill the animal, slaughter the animal in a way where it kind of will sit in the blood a little bit more. You see, this already sounds gross, right? None of you slaughter your own meat, right? Which might give you a different perspective on, if you actually saw the meat industry, if you would still eat meat or not. So the thing with that, right, is there's religious reasons, which is criteria, and someone would be offended by that. Do we eat bacon? I eat bacon.
Yeah, a lot.
Is anyone here one of those people that just like puts bacon on and in everything?
Yeah.
I don't mind it.
Right. Did some of you guys venture there? I have an issue. My subjective criteria is that I really don't like mixing sweet and savory together. So there are exceptions. Barbecue sauce does still work for me, but like if something's supposed to be savory, like I hate pineapple on pizza. I'm sorry if you're offended. I actually don't care if you're offended. I don't like pineapple on a burger. My wife loves both of those. So whatever. I didn't know before we got married, so I'm messing around. But you get that how there's criteria for each of those things. Now that doesn't matter to you, right? That's not an issue that we're talking about here, unless you really want to analyze if that's a right or wrong viewpoint, because you're making a moral evaluation here, right? That's a moral evaluation. So let's see. I'm getting tired of hearing myself. Where were we at? So we have all of this stuff. We have applied it. Oh yeah. So who else would be offended by something we eat?
Certain parts of India, I believe, they don't eat cows or animals like that.
That's correct. So someone in India, or specifically someone who is Hindu, would, right? So religious, I'm just going to beat you to it. I mean, you guys already knew, right? Why wouldn't they eat it? Their criteria, they're Hindu, and their religion says that they shouldn't. Why? Why are they not supposed to eat cows specifically?
I believe cows are considered kind of holy or something.
Sacred,
like
holy, yes.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I'm not sure, but Yeah, that's all I know basically.
That's all right. Anyone else know? Someone here's got to know. You know what? I was surprised. Like last 2 semesters, people didn't know at all. Anyone know?
Is it something with reincarnation?
It is. That is a great man. You just kind of put that 2 and 2 together. That's good. That's good, Jose. Yeah, of course. That is the exact reason. That might be your ancestor. That might be your mom. You're gonna eat your mom. So like, there's all kinds of criteria, and you might find that silly. You might not agree with that, but that's based off of still subjective beliefs and stuff like that. The things that cannot be proven or are still just highly opinionated. Now, if we're saying so, imagine so now examples are good, right? Let's say someone from a, tell me if, I'm going to see if you can see this. Let's say you are a Hindu American, right? You've moved from India, or your family moved from India, and now you are here and you are a practicing Hindu, and you're watching TV, and a commercial comes on, and you see this, let's see if it'll let me. Hold on. Oh, come on. There it is. My you see that? Can you see that? It's a picture of a girl. Do you see it?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. All right. So you see this girl eating this juicy burger, right? And you guys ever seen a Carl's Jr. ad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all kind of the same, right? A lot of this. And they keep going close up to the glistening, juicy cow burger. It looks like there's bacon on that one too. And on top of that, you're not supposed to mix dairy with meat for some reason in Judaism. So that on top of it, that's like a trifecta. But like, look at all that. It keeps going up close to that, and then back to the girl, and then back to that, and then she drips it on her boobs, and then back and forth, right? Do you guys, what's happening in that ad? They're like
sex sells, right? So they're selling the burger with the girl's image, pretty much, right?
Yeah, you can say breasts. Yes. Yeah, exactly. They are straight up sexualizing eating that burger. What do you think that's gonna? So some guy that you know him. It's not you, but it's your friend. He would see that ad and be like, "Oh yeah, that makes me hungry." And then, let's say a practicing Hindu who is a vegetarian sees that ad. What would happen? What would be their response?
They would be afflicted by it, or they would be affected.
Yes. How? What do you guys think?
They goes against the religion.
Right. So how would they feel? Give me a feeling.
They feel anger towards it.
Yeah, they might be angry, or they might be offended and nauseated or whatever. Huh?
Oh, disgusted?
Yeah, disgust. That's a strong emotion. Okay, so you guys get the point, right? The difference. You have probably seen or thought of or eaten a burger or whatever, any of that stuff, a burger loaded up with bacon and everything, and been like just so excited about that, or happy, just like that was a good meal. This tastes so good. You never even thought about any of those other variables and the other perspectives that are out there on it, right? I've totally done that. I do it like maybe like once every couple weeks. I don't go out for food. My wife makes really awesome dinners, and we're poor, so there's that. But when we do, right, when we go out, I'm not thinking about all those other perspectives. Now, if I wanted to, like, ruin my meal over it, then yeah, I could, but I'm not. Right? Because it would be really easy to ruin your meal a bit, don't you think?
Yeah, thinking about all those things, yeah, it will be
Sure.
hard.
So what would be, so let's look at another, so analyzing, we just analyzed the crap out of this, didn't we? Like breaking it down, but we're breaking it down into moral criteria that we're analyzing based off of facts. So it's stuff down here on the pyramid, and then, but it's still variables that we have to consider. So like considering me eating that me eating a burger at Carl's Jr., is that right or wrong? What kind of variables?
Subjective.
So it's a subjective question, right? It's a question demanding a value claim. But what would be your criteria for making a claim of right or wrong on this?
It would be wrong.
Why? Though, what's your criteria? Anyone throw out criteria?
Be wrong because cows aren't meant to be eaten all the time.
But that's still super subjective. Give me as hard, like as objective criteria as you can in order to tell me why your assessment of it is wrong would be true. Because remember, it doesn't matter what you think, it matters, like, you're trying to convince someone else, really, or trying to, your criteria is supposed to be enough to convince someone else. So if it's super subjective, then it's not going to be enough to convince someone else. But if you use stuff that someone else has to agree with, they have to admit that it is true. So let me know. What would be your criteria for why it's wrong?
It can offend some people.
Offend? If I stop doing something just because it's offending someone, I wouldn't be able to do anything in life, I'm pretty sure. I could wear a mask or not wear a mask and still offend someone, right? Anyone try to go to the beach in Orange County and pull out your mask and have people look at you like you're a complete idiot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially at Newport.
Oh, Newport, super. Huntington Beach. I went down to, yeah, Huntington like a month or two ago, and everyone was looking at me like, because I didn't know. Anyway, I mean, if you're far enough away from, see, we're going over that's criteria. When can you get away with not wearing your mask? Well, how far do you think you should be away from people? Why? All those things are criteria apart from law, right? So all of that gets factored in. See how we're starting to apply things that do affect us now? But just talking about the burger doesn't really affect you. You're like, I don't give a crap. I do Uber Eats, or whatever, Postmates, and people just bring me my food and I eat it in peace and don't judge me and don't look at me while I eat and blah, blah, blah. But if you're talking about this on like a moral level, which, I mean, we're going to get to that point very quickly in our essays, but in our class conversations about why something is right or wrong, that's pretty much going to be our fixation over everything. And it has to be you have to make an argument in such a way that other people have to agree with you, or otherwise, you already agree with it yourself. What's the point in even bringing it up if you're not trying to persuade someone else of the same thing? So I'm at Carl's Jr. I'm eating a burger. The variable in the burger is probably the meat. What could make it wrong? So Hector lives a good life. How was that cow treated?
Poorly.
I don't know how the cow was treated. Probably bad, though. You're right. The cow was probably treated bad. That's why I don't think about it, because if I think about it, I'm going to feel sick, because if you've seen the conditions in the entire life that a cow or a chicken, like the way that they live, the way that they're killed, the way that, like, everything about it, and then you see the ways that those animals can actually have like feelings and show compassion or empathy or any kinds of like higher thought, like it would like curdle your stomach, you know. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You guys do understand that I eat meat, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just saying, because it kind of sounds like I'm making some vegetarian or vegan arguments here, but I'm definitely not a vegan or a yeah. Anyway, I think you guys get the point. I think we got through it all, at least this scenario. And you guys need a break. I need a break, and I know we go till. So look, all the only thing that we're going to do left in class now, I mean, unless you guys have any more questions about this before we go on break, but after break, we're just going to talk about the homework that's to come and any other stuff that to wrap it up. So does that make sense? I mean, there's still like 45 minutes of class left, but we're going to take a break for like 10 minutes, and then that'll be like 35 minutes of class. So, or 30, because it's, I mean, okay, you guys get it, right? So not that much left in class, but you definitely need a break. Like, I'm sweating in my room at this point, so I need to like walk around, air out my pits. Any other questions before we take a break and then come back just to deal with what to do next in class?
Yeah, there's one more question.
Yeah. What do you got, Anton?
I know you said criteria, so we have to ask ourselves, like, if we want to, so on the topic that we're going to write, we have to follow the same old steps that we're doing in this one, right? Like,
so
for the criteria.
This is a tool for you, right? I'm really glad you asked that. You're not going to necessarily have to do all of that exactly the same way for this next homework assignment or anything, but you will, you'll have to use this throughout the class. Like, think about it like this. Have you ever had an essay prompt, written like 2 sentences, and then been like, yeah, I have nothing else to say. I've said it all. I've said everything I need to say about it. 2 sentences. This is how you get a full essay out of something, right? Is proving it like this. So I'm going to, some prompts are going to ask for less. Some prompts are going to ask for up to the point of creating, which is like policy, right? You're creating something new. You're arguing that not just you should feel this way, but other people should feel this way and be held to it. Do you see how that's a good definition for policy?
Okay.
Get it? Huh?
Let's say I want to write about why people should read. I have to make a claim like, more people who do it, this and that.
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yes. Yeah. Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, you would definitely want to present facts. Always want to present facts. Even if you're making a value argument, a subjective claim, you still want to support it with as many facts as possible. Otherwise, no one's going to agree with you except for the people who already agreed with you. And what's the point in that? Then it's just a bunch of people in the same room patting each other on the back for already believing the thing they do, which is what your social media feed is. probably. Maybe not you, but your friend. All right. Any other questions? That was really good, actually, Anton. Anyone else before we take the break? Cool. All right. I'm sorry that you guys can chime in and be like, hey, can we take our break? Yeah, pigs are smart, by the way, Alan. I just saw that. Dang it. That's good. Pigs are very smart. Yeah. Anytime, right? You guys are like, I really need to take a dump. Can we go on a break? I get it. You guys could just pause your mic and go do that. And please don't tell me if that is what you do, but still, it helps to take the break. To be able to like scream into the air and be like, why won't this guy shut up? Yeah. Okay. All right. So taking a break now. I really will shut up for 10 minutes and then we'll come back and talk about where to go from here. Or you're like, no, I'm just going to drop the class. But hopefully you don't. I really want you here. So it is, look at that. It's 12:38. Be back at 12:50. So you get 12 minutes. But try to, like, we're going to try and, like, get everything you need like squared away. You're going to know exactly your marching orders and everything you need to do and where to find it on Canvas to be able to do the next homework assignment. Because notice, you're going to have a homework assignment due Tuesday, which I'm not going to be there to talk to you about it. And then you'll have homework due on Saturday. So you want to talk to me about it now. And then you can still send messages and put messages on the group thing. But okay, I'm just talking about the homework now. So we're just going to go on break and then we'll come back. Okay. I'm back. Okay, so we've got this document, right? This is now a resource. If you're trying to interpret a prompt or something like that, and there's language in it, like the definition up here, judgment, that's evaluation, isn't it? But to get to that point, you have to do all the crap we just did, and maybe it doesn't take you 4 hours to do it. Honestly, this class or this little like thing, when we're in person and we can just like hash it out really quick without having to unpause our mics and stuff like that, it takes like an hour tops. I mean, we did go a little deeper on some things, but honestly, this is like you getting some materials, some tools that I didn't necessarily put up well, like you can see that, right? So you did write stuff down, yes, for your notes? Did you get notes of stuff? Things? Cool. Yeah, so you have tools or concepts that hopefully you can come back to, and we're really just going to keep, for the most part, utilizing these concepts to and building off of them. But these are the foundational things that you have to have and think about while you are critically thinking about anything that we cover in this class. So that's why we don't have a textbook, because we're just practicing the tools over and over. There's no need for you to read a chapter on this or that. It's about applying the stuff. So you're going to apply it to readings, and every assignment that you have is going to do that. So I'm going to get rid of that one. We already did this. Any of this stuff that I put up on the screen should be a document on Canvas, and you can always ask me to make sure. So let me see what else we have. We've got this syllabus here, and then let me pull up Canvas. That was not the right thing. Okay, can you see the Canvas page?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you for making sure. All right, so what we have here, wait, hold on, I have to make sure. The video is recording again, right? Yeah, okay. What I think. Pretty sure the video is recording. All right, yeah. Damn it, I'm not sure. Hold on.
There's a recording on the top.
Oh, it does tell you?
On my screen.
Okay, cool. Okay, so you see the screen? Or this?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, cool. So you got your syllabus, you already have that. So you go to the bottom and you see the next assignment, so we talked about cats, critical thinking with cats. And there's a couple of these videos here. If you haven't watched the syllabus video or done the syllabus quiz yet, do that. Do the syllabus quiz. I mean, if you can answer the questions from the syllabus quiz by just reading the syllabus, then you don't have to watch the video. I don't want to like force you to watch anything that you don't need, but there's some important stuff or concepts that do come up, or another way of practicing this stuff, like in the Road Not Taken video. And the most important thing that's like that's obviously clickbait title, but it's I think it is important, especially to have the right mindset when going into projects. It's not about trying to find the easiest way around doing these exercises. It's about going through, and that doesn't mean 4 hours. That's just me dragging it out because of complications with technology, and I apologize for that. Also, you guys could answer faster. I don't know. So what you have here for Tuesday, you need to read Plato's Cave and respond, do a reading response, and then of course submit the RLD notes from today. And you might take a couple notes on the Plato's Cave thing, but I don't know if you're going to have that much. So it's mainly for what was today, or maybe any of the other videos. The other thing I probably should have showed you. Well, first let's finish here. So we're in student view. So you go to week 2, because this is in week 2. So Tuesday, you've got your RLD notes can be submitted here. You've got Plato's Cave reading, and then so you click on this and you print it out, or you download it and you highlight and do whatever you can through the PDF. Or I guess it's a doc, so I guess you can underline stuff that way too. So you can either like put that file link back up there, or you can take a picture of the reading and send it in with your reading response. You guys saw the directions for that? Reading responses, right? So you first you either print it out, or you have it in a way where you can underline and you can highlight or write, dang, Glaucon's a total basic biatch, or whatever you want to say about the text. Like write on it in any way, whatever you think is useful to write on it. I'm not looking for the more you put on, the better. It's just how you're looking at the text and how you're utilizing it. That's important. I say more about that in the syllabus and in the syllabus video, but you could call that talking to the text, which means you are responding to it. You're also highlighting the most important stuff so you don't have to read it again. That is super important. So you do that, and then you either take the document that you have modified because you've highlighted and circled things or whatever, and then you upload that again so I can see that you wrote on it. So it's that, and then you write your response according to the directions, which are, we go back, the directions, you will find them right in here, right? So directions, they're way more detailed right here than they normally will be. Normally my directions will be like 2-3 sentences tops, but this is, once again, you practicing utilizing the text. which is super important as we're still going through the basics of critical thinking, like the foundational elements of it first. So you put in your response here, which you can type. I always recommend typing up in your own document, like a Google Doc that you have for just all your work or whatever it is, and then you just copy and paste it in here. Or you can, see, I just copy and paste it in here because once you post it, then you have to respond to other people. So you got to respond to 2 other people, and it can, just so long as what you're saying is useful, right? It could be 50 words, it could be 200 words. It doesn't have, it should only be 200 words if it's useful 200 words, and if it's like not that big of a deal for you to do. Don't stress out over your responses to other people. Just make sure that you have something good to say that will benefit them. Maybe you're like, you know what, I don't actually understand what you're saying here. Your wording here, do you mean this? Because this would be a better way of wording it. Now you're helping that person with the clarity of their language. So that would be more along the lines of stylistic help as opposed to referring to the content. But most of your responses to people will probably be about the content. Oh, weird, you got that metaphor out of it. I actually got this other metaphor and I feel like it applies better. Or, oh, that's a really good metaphor. This is what, you know. You could even extend that further than the way that you go with it. See how you're adding something. So I already expressed that in the other video, whatever. But so always make sure you attach it, post it, and then whatever responses are there, just limit. If there's already 4 responses to someone's post, just move to someone else's. You don't want to just like, plus you want to say something different. If someone else has already commented on the same thing, don't say, yes, I agree with them. Totes agree, whatever. Like, you don't do that. So any questions about the response paper thing? Yeah, Anton.
When we print out the document and we make note of it, can we, and then we upload it to you? Can that one be the printed one, and we can take a picture of it with our phone and then just upload it?
That's it. Yeah, that's exactly, that to me is the easiest way to do it. Now, if you don't, like, you're like, I don't have a printer, but I'm really good with computers and doing this all digitally, go for it. I just know that that's not really, like, a lot of people would not be able to do that. And that's not this class. I shouldn't demand something like that of you if you don't know how to do it, because then, you know, so printing it out and writing on it. There's still services at school, even though like a lot of classes aren't, pretty sure no classes are. Does anyone have a class that's being held on campus right now?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, exactly. The only classes I would think would need to be held there are like welding or, you know, something like that, where you have to do it on site. But you can still actually go to campus and get resources. So if you have to go there for printing, you know, try to print out. I'm going to post all the readings that I can up front, but you know, you could print out a bunch of them all at once. So whatever it is, or you visit your grandma's house and she never uses her printer, so you do all your printing there or something. It's just do whatever it takes to make sure you've got it and you can do that. But yeah, taking the picture of it is probably the easiest way. Once again, it doesn't have to be like a perfect picture of every single page. It could be lay them all on the ground and take a picture of them from up above, right? Just so long as I can see that there's that the writing's on there and everything. Does that make sense? Yeah, cool. Any other questions about reading responses? All right. So you have that one that's due Tuesday. It's really hard to do this when we only meet once a week. I normally do not like teaching 1 day a week classes, but we got to make it work. So I'm going to also try to upload videos that you can watch. So that was the thing we were going to do. We were going to kind of vote on it. I think I'm going to have to take a little bit more time to word that for you guys and to make the poll correctly, so you guys can take a poll on it. So, but I mean, this is exhausting, right? Is anyone exhausted at this point, just sitting looking at me on a screen for 4 hours? I don't take offense. I'm exhausted. This is like rough, seriously rough. And I don't want to drag anything out. So here's another thing. You can't view it in this. Let me just leave student mode. All right, so down here, critical thinking with cats. Oh, weird. Oh, no. Yeah. Was this it? Huh. I did upload it. Do you see that? You see the video at all? Yeah. Okay. So this is my clickbait title, but this is the exercise done in class. And if you look at the video, it is, if you can't watch it on here, right? The volume didn't do anything when it started playing, but this is 1 hour and 8 minutes. And we covered a little bit more right now, but I also covered more in this video that we didn't get to, because it really just goes with however the class goes and however you guys kind of point us in what direction. But we apply it to other stuff, like a hijab. How would you look at a hijab in different contexts? So that's later on in the video. But my whole point for showing you that is I have videos of these lessons, and they will definitely be shorter if you just watch them, but you also want interaction, and you can't have it both ways. So you got to think about this. Do we want to drag it out or not? So it's going to take more thought, and we still need this interaction. We just don't need maybe 4 hours of it. That's up to you, though. I'm down to do it. I clearly like to talk. Not this much, but I can do it for sure. So I'll throw a poll up on there. I'll throw a poll up there. Also, right now my office hours are set to Tuesday nights, so I'm pretty much, I think I'm just going to make a Zoom meeting for that, and maybe we can talk about it then if anyone wants to drop by. Not mandatory. I'm just going to throw it up there, so I'll probably just sit with my guitar and play it while no one shows up to the meeting, is the way I'm pretty sure that's going to go down. But whatever. All right, so so this video, though, is clearly, go back to student view. I already made it accessible. So that video is there to watch, which you don't need to watch it because you already went through the class and it was already torture enough. But I don't want classes to be as torturous, and they shouldn't be. They won't be. There's going to be more like, I'm going to throw you in a group kind of thing, and you're going to have to figure stuff out. And then we come back together, and it's more like diverse in exercise style. So this one was just rough. For Tuesday, you've got your reading response and all that. And then we're getting close to the deadline here. And then for Saturday, it's going to be another reading, which is already available. Same thing, you click on the reading, you download it, and you either print it out or you type on it there with your stuff. And then reading response things, same way, exactly. And then we're going to cover the prompt. So next class, we will cover the prompt to the essay. So I might send you guys an email for like a poll or something like that maybe you can respond to see if, do you guys want to watch the videos on the reading and all that stuff for the everything now into the treadmill of consumption, and then come back together for the prompt, or what? Because I've got videos for all of it. So we'll see. Don't answer now. We'll answer later. Any other questions for the way that the class is going to go, or the way that your marching orders and stuff like that?
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Okay, so basically for Saturday, we just have to do for sure just the read everything now and the read in response to that, but hold off until we receive an email from you about the ad analysis.
Yeah, I'm going to go over that, but I may just also post the video of it too, because it's pretty clear. But I mean, there's a lot of concepts in that maybe it's better if it's in class that we cover it. So yeah, you don't have to touch the ad analysis before the class for sure. If anything, you can just, I'll be like 9 a.m, start watching this video, and then we'll talk about it after. So you're technically supposed to watch it then, but you could watch it before, so you don't have to get up at 9 a.m, and then we talk about it afterwards and we just have like a 2-hour class or something like that. So we'll figure that out in a couple days. And so it's just make sure you do the Tuesday homework and the Saturday thing, the first part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a question.
What do you got?
I know every Saturday we have the RLD,
right? Well, you write them, but then just have them posted by Tuesday. Yeah. Tuesday night.
Okay.
That was it?
Yeah, I just wanted to double check on that.
No, it's cool. What else? Anything else? All right. Don't worry, I want to be out of here too. I feel like I'm gonna think of something. Oh, one more thing. So I'm gonna make this available. So I have to get out of student mode. If you do struggle with building content, so the thing is, with a summary, you're supposed to summarize the text of Plato's Cave. What's in a summary? Anyone? How about this? Let me ask this question. Are you in a summary? You're not in a summary. Yeah, good. You're not in a summary. You are just summarizing what that person said. Your opinion is not there at all, right? So you're trying to get the content, the thing that person is saying in as few words as possible. They may be your words, but they're their ideas. Yeah? So make sure that you do that with the Plato's Cave thing when I ask for a summary, and then the title is the only part that's really your opinion, right? It's your interpretation of it. So there's very specific directions for that. But in the future, if you're struggling with finding content, like if it's really important that you don't drag out what you're saying. I want all the words on the page to actually be very important towards your own meaning. So if you're fluffing up what you're saying by repeating words or repeating ideas that you've already clearly articulated, a good way to make sure that you're not doing that you're actually that you're making it so that your words are used well. There's a couple resources here. So this right here, 5 elements of body paragraphs. That's not talking about a 5-paragraph essay. That is talking about each paragraph needs to be like this. So you probably already learned that in English 1A. But if you don't remember, or maybe you didn't learn it, right? Each paragraph is only about one thing. Your topic sentence has your claim, right? It has what that paragraph is about. And then everything after kind of proves that. It's like the mini thesis. So all of these things right here are meant to give you or help you remember what is supposed to go in a paragraph. So it might be applicable to this Plato's Cave reading response, but it's definitely applicable for everything in the future if that's something that you struggle with or whatever. So there's a bunch of other resources in there, and now it's should be viewable. So as a student, I'm looking at this, grammar, formatting, essay writing. So it's, if you look at all these, I try to keep these closed just because there's a lot of them and then you have to scroll a lot. So you'll find this as the 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth one down. It's now live and you can access any of those resources. Cool? Any other questions before we go and you scream at the top of your lungs?
Just the RLD notes is just whatever we took down. Like
Yeah,
whatever we wrote down.
pretty much. So you're already going to write a reading response on Plato's Caves, so you probably, I mean, there's no need to just write them in both places. But if there's something that you learned with that, see, I don't think there's going to be anything in that one. There might be something in another one, like if there's a content in it, but I feel like we'll cover it in class or in another lecture video where you'll be like, oh, that's something he said from the reading that's going to come up later in a concept in an essay that we'll really have to utilize. Then put it there. But yeah, your RLD notes are pretty much just for whatever we already covered. So all you have to do is take a picture of it or copy and paste it or whatever into that into week 2 right here for attendance. And that's your proof of attendance and you actually get points for it. Sound good?
Yeah.
Cool. Any other questions? All right, cool. Then you guys have a great weekend, and I'm sorry you had to wake up for this. Right? Okay. Take care.
Bye.
I'm gonna stay on for like a couple minutes if anyone has any other questions that they didn't want to ask in front of anyone else. So I'm just gonna hang out here, but you guys can leave. Take care.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.